today I want to talk about the difference in the confession culture of Korea versus America, as well as other countries. So in Korea, the word confession is called 고백. And I'm sure if you have watched Korean drama or webtoon or movies, you would know that this confession thing is a major part of Korean dating. But I also feel like if you haven't lived in Korea or if you don't know the culture well, then you wouldn't be able to tell, is this like for show? Meaning, is this for only webtoons? Is this for only drama? Or is this something that happens in real life? In comparison to then, how do American people do it? And that's the topic that I want to yap with you guys. So starting first, what country are you guys from? I personally live in Korea as well as America. And there is a gigantic culture gap when it comes to dating between Korea and America. Seems like a lot of the audience, most of you guys live in Korea, some of you guys live in Canada and India, Europe, South America. As I mentioned in the beginning, just letting you guys know, this is very subjective issue, meaning someone in Korea could behave differently with their love interest. Meanwhile, in America, someone might also not follow the American culture of American dating. So there is a lot of generalization here. Just think of it for fun. Don't take it too seriously. In Korea, from what I know, in Korean culture, when you get into a relationship with someone, you have to announce and you have to confirm and ask, do you want to start dating? But I learned that over the years in America, that American people don't do that. I still can't believe that some people don't confess. And also, before I continue, I actually don't have much information personally. As in, I had to do some online research. I don't really know how American people do it. I genuinely don't know. I wish I was faking this. I wish I was lying, but I genuinely don't know. So you guys have to tell me how you do it in America or you do it in America or in other countries. Well, anyway, I feel like I'm blushing. But anyway, in Korea, yeah, you have to make that confession and either guy could do it or girl could do it. It's not something that is assigned to specific gender. And when that begins, we call it day one and we mark it as the day we started dating. So until before that, nothing's official. Well, there is a stage called some, which some of you guys might already know, which I'm going to mention later in detail. So you tell me, do you guys mark day one and establish the day that you started dating? Or do you just slowly get into it and then you just kind of start dating without really officially announcing? I see some of you guys saying America is first kiss. Situationship exists. I think situationship is a whole different animal. I'll go into that as well. Oh, you have the what are we talk? By the way, I'm already very pessimistic about American way of doing a confession. It might be just because I'm Korean, but it's not like set in stone. I like knowing specific dates or else it gets confusing. I think another term that you guys use often in America is exclusive. That seems like another very important keyword. So what does confession actually mean? I'll sort of simulate, you guys might find it cringy, but I'll sort of simulate what it means. You usually, not always, but have some kind of thing going on. Like I mentioned, you have a some stage and then you say this phrase, 사귀자 or 사귈래? Or a little bit more romantically, like, will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? Something that marks absolutely official. But the term here, 사귀자, is the key word. I guess the equivalent English word is dating, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone in America say, let's date. Have you seen anyone, like any movie, any drama, anybody in real life that says, let's start dating? You don't use that particular term, right? It's usually, will you be my girlfriend? I feel like even that is not direct enough. You know what I feel like? Okay, I'm sounding like a hater here. I feel like American culture is more indirect, even in the vocabulary. So, you know how sometimes language is just language, but at the same time, I feel like words have high meaning. So, in Korea, because there is an official word everyone use saying 사귀자, without that word, that just means you're not dating. Does this make sense? Because the culture is established upon that word. If you have someone you like and you hung out with them, but you never had the 사귀자 talk, then you are for sure not official. So it marks a clear sort of a point for you to know whether it's confusing or not. Another kind of confession that you could do, there's different forms of confession. There is sort of a confession attack where you confess to someone when you don't even know that person well and you end up embarrassing that person. We call it confession attack in Korea. And there's also drunk confession. There's also confession after long time of one-sided love. It's kind of like giving up your feeling kind of confession. There's a lot of miscommunications or uncertainty, 100%. And now, why do you think some people want a clear yes or no? In fact, my question is there anyone here who doesn't want a clear yes or no? I just can't understand. Again, I'm biased. Why would you not want to make things clear? Is it more fun that way? I personally feel like it's irresponsible. I'm not talking about a specific person. I'm talking about the culture. Why do Americans not have a culture where you say it in the most explicit way? Because I see so many people in America who get in this stage where each person doesn't even know what state they're in. And instead of a confession, you get into this, what are we talk? But you know what the difference is? Okay, confession is romantic. You're waiting for it, and then you're like, okay, I'll do it today, and then you do it, and then you remember that day, and you write it on calendar together. It's nice. What are we talk? Or it's like the other way around, where it's more out of anxiety and confusion and out of annoyedness. So, what are we? And you're not even asking romantically. It's more like passive aggressive. You know, I don't like this. You guys keep mentioning situationship. All right, another chapter. What is the difference between some and situationship? So for those of you guys who might not know, in Korea, we call the stage where before you make it official, and then the moment you start developing feeling, some. Right here. But in order for something to be some, it has to be mutual. If you have a one-sided love, we don't call that some. It has to be that this person also has a vibe that you're interested and they're interested, and we call that a some. Meanwhile, situationship, in my opinion, is more like you're aware. You're very aware that each party likes each other, and you just haven't made it official, or you just don't want to take it official. That's talking stage. Even the term talking stage is boring. Why are you Americans so unromantic? Think about that term, talking stage. What is this, like a business meeting? Talking stage, for me, is better to call it some, because the whole point of some, you know what the whole point is? The whole point of some is you're measuring. Okay, the measuring might sound like judging, but you're trying to measure how much feeling the other person has for you. So it's a build-up, if that makes sense. So you constantly, you don't say it explicitly because, okay, this is a little bit of a weeb reference. You guys know an anime called Kaguya-san Don't Want to Confess? Love is War. And in that anime, sorry for the reference, in that anime, there's two characters that has feelings for each other, but they don't want to let the other person know that they have a crush on the other person. So they want to make the other person confess to them first. Basically, that's what some is. I'm not saying everyone is kind of making other person confess, as in pushing responsibility, but you're more so trying to figure out what pace is this person running in comparison to me. It's cute. In fact, some people like the some stage way more than the dating stage. Because when you're dating, that's when you know, 100% that you like each other, at least in the Korean dating world. But in the Korean some stage, you don't know. And another thing about some is not entirely exclusive. But at the same time, if you have some with multiple person, then you're trash. What that's different from America is, America, I feel like no one feels like it's a responsibility for you to be exclusive in a talking stage, because it's talking stage for a reason. But in my opinion, and as well as a lot of Korean people's opinion, the some stage and the talking stage should already be exclusive. Because if you have multiple sums going on at the time, then it's not real sum. You're doing a fish tank. I don't know what the right word is in English. In Korea, we call it fish tank, where you have multiple fishes in your tank and you're just, fishing for each fishes. So I feel like it's ironic how fast the exclusivity starts in Korean culture. It's like this, okay, you're expected to be exclusive in the some stage, but you're not responsible. As a result, if you're in a some with someone else, then even if you have something else with another person, you try to hide it. You try to not let that person know. Because you don't want the person you have interest in right now to be like, oh, by the way, I went on a date with Jake last time, but I actually enjoy hanging out with you more, Sanghoon. Like that kind of behavior, I don't like that. That's so lame. It's like comparing. I don't like that. Sorry for the hyphen reference. And situationship, I actually feel like, can situationship really develop into relationship? I'm very skeptical about that because I feel like situationship is situationship because one side doesn't want to make it official and they're just stalling. So if you're in a situationship and you're not the person playing with the other person's feeling, then the other person is the one playing with your feeling. Basically, there's no term called situationship in Korea. And this is, well, most of my audience, I do adult stream, and I think this is actually really important. You know what I think comes in really crucial to this entire topic? Let me just not say it explicitly, but let's talk about skinship. As in, what level of contact do you guys think is okay for each stage? Because that matters a lot. And even in Korea, this is recently a debate where do you have skinship before you date or not? What do you guys think? Well, I guess skinship is very wide range. Wait till marriage? Okay, I'm not that I'm not that conservative. You can do whatever, let people have fun as long as it's consensual. 100%. But it's just more of a person to person, culture to culture. Depends on the person. Okay, what do you guys think about kissing? Who said, yo, show us how you kiss? Get out of here. Oh, before I continue, can I preface a little bit? I'm gonna act like all this in Korean culture, oh, like, we do this thing where no skinship before dating, only exclusivity. But also, as a representation of a trash, toxic Korean male community, I don't necessarily am saying all Korean men are like this. Yes. Are you kidding me? Well, I'm a Hongdae boy. I'm a open-minded dude. So next, moving on to next one. So going back to the 100-day and 1-day culture. So in Korea, because you mark the day that you started dating, on the 100th day or on the 1000th day or 200th day, we celebrate the anniversary. Well, maybe not everybody, but there's a decent amount of people. But I've almost never seen American couples celebrating their 100th dating day. Probably because they don't even know when they started dating. So would you guys want to celebrate the 100th day or 1000th day? Why would we do that? Because it's romantic. Oh my gosh. All these Americans, Canadians, whatever, your romance is dead. You don't know how romantic it is. It's like anniversary of how long you've been dating together. It doesn't even take high effort. You just have to write it in the calendar and it's so cute. You just do annual anniversaries. 100 days is obligation. I think it's cute because it's a special day that you can mark and look back at how long you've been together. I know wedding has wedding anniversary, but a lot of people don't have dating anniversary. And why not? Why not? The reason why some people view this very negatively in Korea is because Korean culture of this has gotten to the point where sometimes for some people it feels like a responsibility. It's not even like I want to do and I want to celebrate this day. It's more like it's our 333rd birthday. 330 day anniversary. It's our 555. It's our 500th anniversary. It's our, like, they make up all the numbers and they just get stressed that now I have to prepare and I have to buy a present and I have to book a restaurant and we just did this last month. So that might be the reason why some people don't like it. So I personally think, in my mind, 100 day and 1 year is fine. Anniversaries, yes. All for 100 days, that's too much. You'll be surprised, people go far. Did you know, long time ago in Korea, in school, there used to be a culture called tutu day, where when some couple start dating, then at their 22nd day of dating, they collect money from their friends because it's their 22nd anniversary day. It's sort of connected with the bullying culture, where the bullies would announce to the class that this is our tutu day and you should bring money to me. It doesn't exist anymore. This is like old culture. But they would basically rip off money from kids saying, it's our anniversary. You don't want to celebrate our anniversary? Obviously not, but it initially started in more of a funny way to celebrate your friend's anniversary. You might be like, this is crazy, but guys, please, there's a cultural difference. Because for Korea, the anniversaries mean a lot. Which is crazy because in America, people wouldn't even care about their own anniversary. Anyway, now, what is the difference between the confession in K-dramas versus in real life? I actually feel like K-dramas are identical to real life. You know how there's so many things that are exaggerated in dramas, such as, you know, those typical moments where the CEO and then the girl walks in at the elevator and then they crash into each other like, hey, look where you're going. Like, oh, I'm the CEO. You know, those kind of things don't happen. But the romanticness of sort of leaning in and being like, do you want to start dating? That I think is actually true. The only difference is that when you start kissing, there's no background music that plays. When 내 눈앞에 나타나, it just doesn't have the music. But in fact, the real life one might be a little bit more romantic. No need to role play. That never happens? No, it really does. In Korea, it's super common. How do you know this? Because I have friends. Even though I don't know, I would be able to know from other people's. And do you guys find this kind of confession childish? Like, will he be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? You think it's cute? Would you prefer one doing the confession or would you want to get the confession? Because I'm a princess, I personally wish the girl confesses. That's just me. That's just me. How do you mutually confess? Oh, by the way, that's another thing. In Korea, you can't mutually confess. It's not like the vague thing in America. In Korea, there is clearly the person confessing. Someone has to bring it up first. And then the other person accepts the confession and then returns it. Is bad culture to propose to a guy? Why? Why? Why can't girls confess? Sorry, it's because I'm a very loser guy who is scared that I'm gonna be rejected. So I don't think I could build up the courage for it. That's supposed to be the romantic part, but you're so girly pop. We can tell. But yeah. Alright, then do you guys think there's a number of dates before you could make it official? This is a little bit more leaned about American dating culture. Do you guys have something like 3 dates, 1 date, 5 dates? Well, it's more of a personal rule, right? But can I share my honest opinion on this? This also ties into age, where I feel like people want to get things cleared out. The older they get, the faster. But me personally, I take a very long time to develop a feeling. So I feel like 3 dates, 5 dates, that's not enough to start relationship. And again, I don't represent the entire Korean dating community, but I feel like the way it works in Korea is you go on maybe 1 or 2 dates, and then once the feeling starts, that's when the sum begins. And then you continue to meet and meet and meet, even for like a month or 2. And then once it's ripe enough, then you confess. So I also feel like in America, in culture, there's a mentality of you date first and then see how it's like. But in Korea, that's not what dating is. You don't date first and then see how it goes. Generally, dating is like, okay, now we know we love each other. Let's start dating. Well, obviously, again, individual person is different. There's a lot of people in Korea who is down for the idea of let's date and see how it goes. But at the same time, I think generally the Korean standard is that if you're dating, you're not testing anymore. But I do see people who start the dating as like a testing period. So if I were to draw this on a chart, in America, the dating starts really early. And then while you date, you develop your feelings. I feel like I heard this the same way in Europe. But bro, I don't like Korea anymore. Why? But in Korea, you have the sum stage, and then it's almost like if you're down to marry the person, that's when you confess. That's too complicated. Basically, the word dating is much heavier in Korea in comparison to America. You don't say it casually. That's why the whole confession part is so big. And that's why people are so nervous. It's not something you could just say and cancel later. And that's also why I genuinely feel like there's a big difference here. It's not just about culture. The depth of dating is also different in each culture. Where in Korea, if you're dating, then the responsibility and the level of liking and how often you contact each other is very deep. You contact daily. Like daily is obvious. It's more a matter of like how many hours per day. Like 3 hours call, 5 hours call, every 2 hours, every 3 hours. Meanwhile, in America, it's kind of like, oh, I have a girlfriend. I'm planning to see them next week, Thursday, and then maybe next month. Like it's not like that. It's not like that. So it's more like a life partner, I feel like, when it comes to dating in Korea. I don't know why. Now that I keep talking about it, guys, I think Korea might be a romantic country. As in, we're more serious about love. That's probably why we make K-dramas and we make those romantic K-pop songs, because it just feels like very natural for us that if you like someone, then you want to spend as much time with the other person as possible. And the only reason that this change is as people get older, you get too busy with work and you just have to make time and you don't get to meet every day. But at young age, you basically see each other every single day. Feels clingy. That's the thing. That's the reason why a lot of the times when non-Korean people date with Korean people, they feel like the other person is being clingy. But Korean people feel like the internationals are too cold in some sense. So if you get called, oh, why are you so clingy in America, then you might fit well with someone from Korea. And if you're in Korea and you're cool about dating, then you might fit better with someone in America. If Korea is a romantic country, why is the birth rate so low? Because we do everything except actually making baby. Because Hyo left. If I was there, it would have been lower. Actually, you're kind of talking about right point. I think I should have another talk later where if Korea loves dating so much, why are we so low on birth rate? One of the biggest reasons for that is high housing price, difficult economic situation. I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but also when women have higher education. I think I should stop talking about this. No, but this is real. Generally, the more involved women are in the career and workforce, there's a less tendency for them to want a child, because having a child generally affects your career strongly. I feel like that is also one of the major reasons. By the way, I hope it doesn't sound offensive as in like having baby is like bad. Like I'm not, but like generally it's just a tendency. So, and that's also why a lot of people in Korea aren't getting married either. It's because you get too invested in your career and you don't have time for marriage or dating. And again, yeah, it's expensive to have kids. So, but continuing. Do you guys think confession should be done in person, or do you think it could be done over text? Okay, I think we agree that it should be in person. What about over call? In person? I see. I think we all agree with that. Text is so pointless. I think it kills the romanticness, right? Then where do you guys want to hear that confession? Because the confession part is so important in Korea, people build up. Have you guys ever seen in a K-drama where the main guy or main girl is trying to set up a right place for confession? Like, oh, tonight at here, after we finish eating at the restaurant, I'm gonna confess. Where do you want? Taco Bell? Who said Taco Bell? Might as well say Waffle House. You don't care? For me, I feel like it's fine as long as it's not too loud and you're by each other. So even convenience store porch might be fine. Or another common place that people think of it as a stereotypical place is playground. This appears a lot in Korean webtoons where even though it's children's playground, adults play in the playgrounds a lot and you'll be eating ice cream or something and you'll be on a swing, and then you'll say, hey, so do you want to date? Or I think for some people it's car, because car is closed space, so it's more private. Obviously, I don't have a car, so I don't even have that option. Or I could find a girl with a car. Anyway. Car is so unromantic. Really? I feel like car romanticness might depend on the kind of car. What I mean is, wouldn't it be romantic if it's a Rolls Royce? Like, door open by itself, and then you walk in, and then they confess. Compared to 2000 Honda Civic. I'm not saying Honda Civic's bad. I don't even have a car, so... Who's that busted old Toyota? Toyota and Honda is great companies. And again, I don't even have a car. Okay, where would you not want the confessions to happen? I could think of number one, club. Absolutely no. That's just the worst place ever. In the woods? What are you doing in the woods? In a cheesecake factory? What's wrong with Cheesecake Factory? Bathroom? Why are you guys in the same bathroom? Huh? Why are you in the same bathroom? Graveyard? What were you doing in there? Oh, with friends. That's like the worst place ever. Because in Korea, we call that confession attack. So this is like a thing in Korea. It's a low-key meme, low-key not. If you really hate someone in your work, in your school, what you do is you wait until all the people in the classroom is sitting down. And then you stand up and you go to that person and then you say, will you please date me? I feel like we've been having a thing for a long time. I know you've been looking at me as well. I know this feeling's mutual. Let's start dating. And then people will be like, woo. And then either guy or girl they get super embarrassed and they hate their life. So that's why we call it confession attack. No, it's actually bullying. It's actually bullying, but then the reason is because sometimes some people lack the social cues so much that they actually do this kind of stuff. There's a very famous meme in Korea where in college there is a class group chat for KakaoTalk, and this one girl made an announcement saying, so the professor said our class is going to be held on the 31st, blah, 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 blah. And then this guy texted a gigantic paragraph saying, Hyunju, since the moment I started seeing you, I developed feelings for you, blah, blah, blah. Will you please be my girlfriend? I'll wait for you behind the school after class. And then the girl left the chat room. And then someone else in the class said, now who's going to make the announcement? That has been the most famous meme in Korea. It's like a solid internet meme now. Exactly, peer pressure dating. I feel like this is actually the same with proposal as well. I don't know how you guys think. I've never been married, but I feel like even the marriage proposal, I would want to personally do it in the place where you're only by yourself instead of families, friends. Because I feel like whether dating, whether marriage, if you do it in public with other people, it doesn't feel like you give them a lot of room for rejection. Even though a lot of the times I feel like confession is something that you do when you already know it's mutual, but at the same time, you're still asking. And if there's so many people around you, then it's difficult for the person to answer. Well, obviously, there is romantic performance kind of proposal where, in a stadium, or you guys get the idea, or in a restaurant. I'm not saying that's bad, but I just also feel like it's a special moment. I personally don't care about other humans on Earth. I wouldn't want to have random guy in a restaurant being like, woo, woo. I don't really want to have that. I'm not saying he's bad for that, but so I would personally want to do it, I don't know, maybe home, maybe park, maybe on a trip. What if the other person says, I actually do have feelings for you, but I do want to take things slow, so would you mind giving me more time? But it's hard to have that kind of calm time in public. So, in fact, that happens quite a lot, especially in Korean dating. Yes, there's time and place for everything. Now this is a little bit of a different topic. Do you think people could stay friends after a rejection? So we just talked about the proposal / confession. Now let's assume that they said, I don't know. Then do you think you could stay as friends? I have a very clear answer to this. The answer is absolutely no. As in, you could be friends, but that's not friendship anymore. You could never forget that. Eventually, it's like a timed bomb without knowing exactly when the bomb's gonna set off. Where eventually one side's gonna be able to not hold it back and be like, I can't hold it back anymore. Either be friends with me, or either date me or just never talk to me ever again. I don't like that kind of fake friendship, but at the same time, I don't think everybody goes into that fake friendship because they want to. It's generally where one side who confessed and got rejected likes the other person so much. It's not like you want to be friends. It's that you don't want to be never seeing them again. So you at least want to stay as friends so that you could stay by them and maybe wait until they develop feelings again. So the right term is potential candidate that now you have to wait for your turn until this person develop feelings for you. So I feel like in terms of being friends after confession, the person who got confessed and who rejected should make it clear. A lot of the times, person who got confessed doesn't want to lose the friend and say, oh, can we stay as friend? But in my opinion, that's not your friend anymore. It's already over. The moment they decided to confess, they were already deciding to throw this friendship away. So I think you have to accept their decision and then let it go. There's other people to be friends out there. You say you could go platonic. I feel like in order for it to be platonic, you have to be waiting at least several years. Even then, I feel like, again, it's a bomb with the timed, counter on it. It's gonna blow up one day. Whether 20 years later, 50 years later. You're afraid of men who do that? It just reminds me of plot of Obsession. What are your takes on other cultures' confession types? So, like I said, I'm absolutely against the so what are we and then the slowly dating. I also personally don't like where you date to experiment. But also, I am not the type of person to date as in you date and then you also start the marriage at the same time. You know how in some cultures there's no dating? You just start with marriage? That I personally cannot do. I feel like you have to get to know the person. I want as long as possible. I really want time. So I want to have, okay, this is probably why I'm single. I actually know. This is the biggest reason why I'm single. I want to spend at least 1 year until I know if I want to date this person or not. Believe it or not, guys, call me toxic. Call me toxic, but that's how long I need. Here's the thing. I'm not saying I need to be in a situationship for that long. I just need to know a person for 1 year, because this is not even for me for dating. This is also for friendship, where I feel like you need 1 year for you to know who this person is. And I don't want to date someone without knowing who this person is. You have to see them in all 4 seasons in 1 year. Then you'll be like, okay, I think I have a grasp of this person. So you could develop a feeling of liking someone within weeks or months. But liking is different from dating in my definition. So even if I like someone, for me to take it official, I need 1 year. In fact, I'm the same way with friends where, I had my roommate, Sean. When we first became roommate, for the first year, we were just not really talking, just kind of scanning each other. And right when we renewed the rent and we passed the 1 year mark, that's when we started talking and say, I wasn't sure if I would be friends with you in the beginning, but I think we vibe with each other. We vibe with each other. So we started hanging out, we started going to gym together, and now we're close. And I told him, I'm sorry I took a long time because I need at least 1 year for me to know someone. He said that he was like, I'm the same way. I need 1 year for me to scan and be really close with someone. This might just be like an introverted thing, but yeah, this is how it is me for dating as well. That's why I'm single. But also, I think I also want to take several years until it leads to marriage. Thing is, it might change in the future, but you know how some people say, I dated someone for 3 months and I got married? That happens in Korea too. That happens very often. This is not Korean culture. Me personally, I take 1 year to date, so I want to take at least 5 years to marry. Is this too much? Okay, maybe 3 years. Okay, minimum 2 years. Okay, no, it has to be 3 years. Because, guys, you're gonna spend rest of your life with that person, in my opinion. When you say marriage, I don't consider marriage with the divorce in mind. At least in other cultures, maybe those things are a little bit more common. I think you should go into marriage with the mentality you're gonna go to grave with that person. So, how many years do I have left in life? Like 80 years? 100 years? Who knows? How could I make that decision in 1 year? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I need several years and it's still not enough. I feel like even 5 years is not even enough for you to know someone. Sometimes you have someone that's friend for 5 years and then you realize, oh, that's not the person I really thought they were. I don't know everything about them. So, but at the same time, here's the issue with my kind of mentality is that when I start dating a girl at my age and I hold them for 5 years, and let's say I get older and older, sometimes holding someone for 5 years and then saying, actually, I don't think it's gonna work out. And now they struggle and they might have felt like they wasted several years of their life that they're not even gonna end up with. So I do hear people saying, those people like me who take long time should make their decisions faster because you're wasting other people's time. I don't have a good conclusion on this. By that time, you may not have hair. I mean, I am balding real time. Oh my gosh, let me take my anti-balding medicine. Oh my gosh, I can't lose my hair because no girlfriend, no wife whatsoever without the hair. Anyway, God, I can't. Take the medicine. All right. And this is iffy. Do you think dating is exclusive? Okay. Yes, right? I just had to confirm. In Korean mentality, I think the word exclusivity even starts at the some stage, like I mentioned. So for me, what's the point of all of this if it isn't exclusive? I am so person built in monogamous culture that I personally feel like if it's not exclusive, what is it? Exclusive how? As in, you shouldn't even talk to other women. Okay, that's a little bit too far, but you shouldn't even romantically talk. Okay, now, this is a big debate in Korea. Assuming that you are in a relationship, where do you guys find it okay? Meaning, is it okay for you or your boyfriend to drink with someone of opposite gender? At least in Korean culture, that's a no. 100% no. Depends? Yeah, like just two. That's cheating for me. I think that is considered cheating in Korea as well. How about going to watch the movies together? This is unreasonable. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. All of this behavior is a whole behavior. In my opinion, did you know that in Korea, even some breaks when you realize the other person is not exclusive? Do you see where I'm coming from? So it's not even a debate that dating is exclusive, but it's more so where even at the feelings developing stage, if you realize the other person has feelings for other person, then it's already a no. It's a hyo behavior. How'd you know? How'd you know I was a open-minded Hongdae boy like that? With my 13 wives waiting outside. Your behavior is crazy. The reason why I clock out early every night is because, there's girlfriends waiting. Please spare my years. 13's unlucky. It's okay. I got a new one, so it's 14. You think you're so funny, huh? That's how he injured his back? That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, now that I think about it, I already had this conversation, but you guys know how I have spinal disease? I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about how this is going to affect my dating life. I really don't even want to think about it. I can't even sit down well. Should I go to sperm bank? Oh, God. Let me stop. I don't even know, guys. I don't even know. I don't even want to think about this stuff. Yeah. By the way, I wasn't even joking when I said this kind of stuff. I'm not joking. You think it's a joke, it's not a joke. I'm being serious. There's so many things I have to worry about. I'm taking anti-balding medicine. I'm losing hair. I'm losing spine. Oh my god. Like, what if I want a Hyo Junior later? Think about that off screen. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be a cultural study, difference between Korea and America. I'm sorry. I yap a little bit too much. I think that's good for today's talk. Is there any other points that you guys want to talk about in terms of the confession culture? Do Koreans like Latinas? First of all, girl, why are you asking me? Because I don't know what the general Korean thinks. I'll tell you a harsh truth. I think this could be another video we have later. But it's just true where Koreans born in Korea tend to only feel attracted to Koreans or maybe East Asians at most. Not even that many people are open to Japanese or Chinese, because that's just how you've been raised and all the people around you and culture around you is mono-ethnic. So if you expect a Korean guy to be open-minded as in open to other ethnicity, it might be a little bit rare. Korean American, I think it's a different story. But generally, I think people tend to be more attracted to their own ethnicity. Don't worry. In fact, I'll talk about this the next time we talk about Korean dating. I'll go into the detail. I'll bring you guys some statistics of international marriage in Korea. I think it'll be interesting to look at. I think it's also interesting to know what the ratio of divorce of international marriage is, because it's also important once you get into a relationship and if you can maintain that relationship. All right, let me know if you have any other questions in the comment section. hopefully I don't get canceled for the things I said. Yeah, one day people are gonna realize and my Hongdae boyness is gonna be all exposed in this video. But thanks so much